guys, Yard Mom. I'm back. I'm finally in my yard this time. Just going to tell you what I've done since my last video. If you watched it, you saw where I did my soil test. If you saw the one before that, you saw where the only thing I had done in my yard so far at all this season is I had raked up my dead grass that had died over the winter and pulled a few broad leaf weeds, and that was it. So the only thing I've done since then is I've had my yard core aerated. Now I do pretty much everything in my yard, but that's one thing I am going to hire out because I'm just not going to do that. So I got Robert King, if you're in my area, West Monroe, Louisiana, or close by, from I think it's King Green Lawn Care Service. If you need the information, you can contact me and I'll give you his number. He came and core aerated. I'll show you a little video of that snippet. You want someone who, it was hard to find someone, for some reason it's hard to find anybody in my area to core aerate. You want somebody with a good, powerful, big machine, preferably to get 3-inch cores, but even if they can only get 1/2-inch cores, that's going to be better than nothing. You don't want the tine aerator, you want the core aerator that pulls the plugs out of the soil. And if you can zoom in on this, Maddox. Now this is old, I had this done like a week and a half ago, and this is one of the cores that got, well, it would be like this, that got pulled out. And you could see better when he first did it. You could see where part of my, you can't really see it so much now. You could see I had clay, right? I had darker dirt, then I had clay, and then I had sand on top. My soil type is supposedly sandy loam, but it's a lot of clay in there. But anyway, you don't want to do the tine aeration, you want to do the core aeration where it pulls up the plugs. Before you core aerate or have someone core aerate, like in my case, you want to water your lawn very well 24 to 48 hours before it's core aerated. And also you want to cut your grass low before they come. After they core aerate, if you want to overseed, I didn't, or you want to add amendments or nutrients, that's the best time to do it when you've got those plugs pulled out of your turf to make contact with your soil. So you want to add that, and then you want to water afterwards. Then you don't want to mow for like a week. Now, this was the first time I'd had my yard core aerated in like 7 years. It's only the second time. I've lived in this house, I think 12 or 13 years. It's only the second time I've had my soil core aerated. So it was time to do it. I noticed that there were certain spots in my yard I could stick a screwdriver in, and that's like a simple test. If you stick a screwdriver in it and it doesn't go down several inches easily, you know you got compacted soil. There were parts of my soil that were just a little, of my turf that were a little thinner. And just by virtue of the type of soil I have, which is predominantly clay, it's going to get easily compacted. So I knew that I needed to core aerate. The advantages of core aeration. Well, first of all, let me tell you, the best time to do it in the South is going to be late spring to early summer when the grass is vigorously growing. Okay, it's going to be different for cool season grasses in different parts of the country, but where I am in Louisiana, that's going to be the best time to do it. Reasons to do it. I just talked to you about if you have clay soil, you're probably going to need to core aerate or aerate. If you've got, that's because of compaction. If you've got cars that have been driving on your lawn, or if you're like mine, I'm one of these yards that's got every box from every company, the gas people, whatever, they're always coming in, tearing up your yard, replacing pipes, whatever, and they pull those heavy trucks onto my certain part of my lawn, and it compacts it. And I also think in the past, these heavy, before I started doing my own mowing, a lot of these heavy mowers, I always felt like maybe they were adding to the compaction of my soil. But also, core aeration allows like I said, nutrients, oxygen, water, sun to all penetrate deeply into your soil. And that's going to lend to a denser, thicker, more beautiful turf. Okay? Also, it's going to prevent the possibility of thatch buildup. it's going to allow those microbes to more easily get to your thatch to eat it up. So you're going to have also it helps in drainage. Like I notice when I irrigate or when it rains, I see the water just run off my lawn, which I am on a slope, so I mean that's obvious that's going to happen, but it seems like it does it like really quickly, so it helps with the drainage. If you notice like low spots in your yard where the water's pooling, good chance you might need compaction. You notice thinning in your yard, bare spots, you might have compaction, you might need the aeration. So it helps the water uptake as well. So a lot of advantages in doing that. All right, so that's the one thing I had done. Now the second thing I had done, if you saw my last video, I had a soil analysis done, and the recommendation for organic was 900. So this is what I bought. This is something I've never used before. I got this at West Farm Supply, if you're in my area. Okay, it's organic lawn food. It's made by Espoma. They've been in the business since 1929. All organic lawn food. Now this was this is a 28-pound bag that feeds up to 5,000 square feet. I want to say I went by the direction of the bag. I think it was either 5 or 6 pounds per 1,000 square feet I put on it. Like I said, completely organic. I think I paid like 40 bucks for it. You can get this, I think, on Amazon too, but I just like to support, you know, local small businesses. So this is granular, obviously. I put that out. I'm one who puts my spreader low because I'm just more comfortable. I like doing horizontal, vertical, diagonal this way, diagonal that way. So I always pretty much put my spreader on between like 3 and 5 on whatever I do. So I put this in my lawn, and what you're seeing now, show my grass, Maddox. It's just natural. This is what has the only thing I've done that's going to show in my yard is pull weeds and have gotten those dead grass blades out. This I just put down like I think 4 days ago, so it hasn't had time to do anything. All these organics, like I say, they're slow acting. They last longer, but they take longer, so you're not going to see any results. So this is just what my yard looks like regularly without anything having been put on it, nitrogen or anything. So it looks pretty good now as it is. The other thing I did is I put elemental sulfur down. If you remember, or if you watched my last video, you saw where I've been trying to bring my soil pH level down. Because if you don't do that, it doesn't matter what you put on your soil, there's a good chance you're not going to have good uptake that's going to work well on your turf and give you a healthier and a more beautiful looking turf. So even though I had brought my soil pH down from a 7.02 to a 5.98 in one season, which you're not going to get you're probably not going to be able to get any better than that, and that was just all organic, I still would like to get my pH level to a 5.5, which is optimum. That way I know I've got perfect, or as close as I can to perfect nutrient, micronutrient uptake in my soil. So I added elemental sulfur. Actually, I already had it in my garage, because I had been over the years amending my flower beds with it. If you've got acid-loving plants like I do, like camellias, azaleas, those rhododendrons, and you got a high pH level, I just sprinkle sulfur around, elemental sulfur, working in a little bit with one of those little hand rake cultivar things. I do that once a year, and that has lowered the pH in my beds over the years. Now, it's not going to happen immediately. It's like all these organic products. Lowering your pH level could take years. So, but mine did come down significantly, as you saw. I actually showed it to you on my last soil test results, so you can see that that's actually, you know, I proved that. But I added 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet. 12 pounds. Scale. And that was granular, so it's like and it's fine, it's dusty. That was real easy. One application, and watered it in afterwards. Now, I may do that one more time in the fall. You can do that like twice a year. You probably don't want to put down more than 10 pounds per year of elemental sulfur. Some people say 20 pounds, but I'm leaning on the side of caution, so I won't put more than 10 pounds. And I may not have to do it ever again after this time. It may lower my soil pH enough to where I want to be is 5.5. Okay, the only other thing I did other than those things is I do have a few bumpy spots. I'm showing my bumpy spots in my yard over here. This drives me crazy. And I don't know what this is. I don't believe it's a fungus. Pretty sure it's not. It doesn't get any bigger. And actually with centipede grass being stoloniferous, meaning it grows horizontally, you're not going to even be able to notice this in a short period of time. And if I had put fertilizer on it, like especially synthetic, you probably wouldn't even notice it now. But I notice it bothers me. So what I did is I actually had already had a couple of bags of Black Cow topsoil in my garage. I had a couple of bags of sand in my garage. So all I did is grabbed a little wheelbarrow container that looks kind of like a wheelbarrow, and I mixed my, I think I have a little video snippet will show you that. I mixed some sand and topsoil together, and I just threw it out here with my hands. I'm old school, and I didn't even do that. If you do a general, normally when you do the conventional top dressing, you're going to do 1/2 to 3/4 inch over your turf area. I didn't even do that. I kind of did what you might call spoon feed top dressing, and there was reason for that. After I'd done my other additions to my aerated soil, I had a day or two or something. I couldn't get to my things I had to do, couldn't get to my grass. Then we had like 2 or 3 days of monsoon rain. And so I couldn't get out here like when I wanted to, so I just kind of spoon fed throughout some 50-50 probably combination of what I had in my garage. Now I will tell you this, what I'm going to do over time, I'm going to just sprinkle sand onto these low divots, these craters that have formed in my yard. Now there's a debate, and you can ask 30 yard lawn care, turf care specialists, soil specialists, whatever they call themselves, what is the best way to top dress? A third of them is going to say topsoil. A third of them is going to say topsoil mixed with compost. Hey, doing a video. Doing a video.
I'll show it to my mom.
Yeah, tell her to watch it. And I was one of my neighbors, his mom watches my videos.
You had my merch on.
Huh?
You had my merch on.
He had your merch on? Awesome. My son's a YouTuber. He has his own channel. What is it?
Maddox McConaughey.
Maddox McConaughey. He's my son. He does vlogs. He hasn't been doing them lately. He broke his camera. But anyway, that was a pretty cool guy in the neighborhood. Had his merch on. Had one of his shirts on his merchandise. But anyway, the other half of the experts are going to say no. Do not put topsoil and compost in because you don't know what's in them. You could be bringing in all kind of weeds. So apparently, it's virtually impossible to find clean topsoil, compost, peat moss, and all that without the possibility of bringing in weeds, which I don't want to do because I'm organic and I can't stand the weed. They drive me crazy. But the other side of the debate, they're going to say sand is not the most advantageous thing that you can add to your top dressing or leveling because it has no organic components to it. It doesn't feed any of the micronutrients. It's not going to do anything to bring light to help keep those your soil fed. But the other side of the coin is the top dress, the dirt, the compost, that's going to sink down. It's not going to hold like sand will. So I just used what I had. In the future, I'm probably going to start, especially now that I got a little bit of top dressing, and I did a little bit last season too. I'm probably going to just start using sand. So I will be on a venture. I feel like I'm searching for the fountain of youth, trying to find some screened, pebble-free, masonry washed sand, wherever that exists. Now, apparently it doesn't exist in bags because I can't find it. And I don't need like a golf course load full to be delivered. So anyway, I'm on my quest. My quest will continue this week of finding the best kind of sand. But anyway, that's all I've done to my yard. And you can see, just for a yard that really hasn't had anything added, or what has been added has not had time to even show up yet, it looks pretty good. Now, I will tell you this, for the next video, I was really excited. This was one of the highlights of my year. I actually got a phone call from John Perry, if you know who he is. If you've watched his channel, Long College, if you hadn't, I highly recommend it. This is probably the most innovative pioneer in the turf, I guess you'd say turf care or soil industry. Long colleges, maybe, I'm not sure what he calls himself, but this man's a genius. I've never seen a question asked that he can't answer. Whether it's soil, nutrients, the history of soil, additives, amendments, chemicals, anything. He knows it all. So the man's a genius. So he was nice enough, and he'll do this for, I think, pretty much anybody. I don't know how he finds the time, because he's the man that's behind the most exciting thing that's happening in the turf care industry, the DIY industry right now, which is all these next products that I'll be talking about later. So John Perry called me, and I wanted to get it on video, but as luck would have it, I was like 30 seconds. I was driving. I was like 30 seconds from my house, and when he called, I couldn't video because I wanted to prove. I really did talk to John. But anyway, he only recommended one product for my yard. So I'm going to talk about that on my next video. So I'm going to, and it's organic. I told him I'm organic. And he looked at my hand, analyzed my soil test, and everything looks good. I'll probably just add this one thing. So that made me feel real good about what I've been doing too. So I'll talk to you about that next time. And there's one other thing I'm going to do in my yard. And so stay tuned, watch my next video, and then we'll be able to be seeing these results of what I've added. Probably might take a few weeks, but as time goes on, I'm going to show you. I'm going to continue my proof that you can have a beautiful lawn organically. So stay tuned for my next video. Like and subscribe. Yard Mama.